Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. This time it comes from the New York Police Department's 79th Precinct. I will play this video and I will talk intermittently at the beginning, and I may rewind here and there to talk about things that are going on to help better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think are done right or wrong, or just my general thoughts on things. Without further ado, here we go.
This briefing will provide information about an officer-involved shooting involving members of the New York City Police Department. You will see relevant video footage and other available evidence that will allow you to gain a better understanding of the events that led up to the incident and what occurred during the incident based on the facts that we know at this time. New York State law and NYPD.
So right off the bat, I just want to note New York's style of critical incident briefings, press releases, whatever you want to call it, is obviously way different than how like California does it. And I don't know if it's because California has all the movie people down there, and they just have more resources to make better quality videos. But there's obviously a huge difference in the quality of video between the two coasts here. I'm not a big fan of how New York does it.
Policy give police officers the authority to use reasonable force under appropriate circumstances. The department's Force Investigation Division conducts a thorough investigation when an officer discharges his or her firearm or in cases of any serious police-related injury or death. Sometimes these investigations can require as much as a year or longer to complete. Our understanding of the incident may change as additional evidence is collected, analyzed, and reviewed. Investigators are typically required to interview multiple witnesses several times, review many hours of video footage, and analyze a significant amount of forensic evidence. The images and information you are about to see may be disturbing. When a police officer uses force to take a person into custody or defend against an attack, the images can be graphic and sometimes difficult to watch. There may also be strong language recorded in the videos you are about to see. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for young children and sensitive viewers.
All right. Well, that was quick. Hold on. Well, all right. Sorry about that. So sometimes trying to pause right at the right moment on YouTube just isn't easy. um, but if you're not familiar with New York, which I mean a lot of people aren't, and that's okay. But if you ever hear of Manhattan and Central Park, where my cursor's moving around, that's kind of where it's at. Down in this big circling motion, down in here would have been where the towers were, and then down and over here would be Statue of Liberty. So, and if you've ever landed at John F. Kennedy Airport, that's over in here. So, just to kind of give you an idea of whereabouts this kind of occurred at, was between those kind of major landmarks. Now, that's the extent of what I can explain to you about this area. I don't know anything in particular about. I can't see what that says behind there. Summer houses, or anything about Myrtle Avenue. Judging from what's going on there, I'd say it's a shitty ass neighborhood, and I would not recommend moving there or having anything to do with that part of town. But other than that, I have no idea. I don't know that much about New York other than, of course, its major landmark places. If you happen to know more about this particular area, please educate me in the comment section. I would really like to know more about this particular area. But anyway, moving on. And here we have a zoomed in part, of where this occurred at. So you'll see in the video two police kind of hanging up on the sidewalk, and I think that they were probably somewhere whereabouts in here. The group of people came, I think, walking from here, and the bad guy came walking from here. Boom, they get into a gunfight. Bad guy takes off running this way, and of course, the officer will take off and follow him. Just now notice the shape of these buildings. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, moving on. So we have a large group of people here, and you're about to see a guy appear on the sidewalk over here. And the fight pretty much occurs right in here where my cursor is moving around. So this guy's going to walk up through here, kind of move this away, and the whole crowd starts to break apart. And that's when you can really tell the gunfight's happening. That lone guy, he makes his way this way while turning around, shooting at people this way, and then takes off down this little walkway right here. The two police officers, and this might be the silhouette of one of them. They're not that far away. I mean, they're pretty much like right there behind this tree. If this tree wasn't there, you'd probably see those police officers standing right over here, just chilling. Um, but when this group gets to here, this is where you need to be paying attention at. All right, we'll back that up some. Now, these two guys, take notice of them too. So let's back it up even further. All right, so you got this group here. These two guys, you also need to pay attention to them now. So watch these guys. Don't pay so much attention to what's going on with the little dude in the black right in here, but now pay attention to these guys. So one of them wanted to pull out his gun too. So it's hard to say what's going on. It could have been maybe these three guys wanting to rob some people, or um, these three were going to be wanting to kill someone in particular within this group, or maybe a few people within this group. So, and I don't know if this was just a happenstance thing, like they're walking and like, oh, there's such and such, and it kind of played off, or this was kind of a planned thing, and it's most likely kind of a planned thing. So these two guys are leading this group. They're leading, and they they pass or start to pass. You can see that he's target glancing, like he's looking at one of them. right? And this guy, he's turned around looking too. So there's obviously some issues between both parties here. These people, as you watch them, they can tell, like they all know something's up. Like they know there's about to be some smoke. Because then this guy makes kind of a quick furtive movement in between these vehicles before this guy's even done anything. And then boom, this guy takes off super quick. So I would say this was just typical bullshit gang violence. And of course, when this all went down, this dude wanted no part in it, and he took off running as quick as he could. But I guarantee you that this dude right here probably talks the most shit. He probably talks about how hard he was during this gunfight, and he just took off running. Um, Back it up a little bit more. Um, Pay attention to the sidewalk right here and look for ricochet. You'll see a bullet hit somewhere around in here, I think, and then you'll see a spark over in there. All right, hit replay. Replay again. Now, also pay attention to the windshield of this SUV. Got some glass dust. And then pay attention to this brick wall right here. Play it again, right in here. So a lot of shots were fired during this incident. The bad guys all shot at each other, and then this police officer fired a couple rounds at a bad guy, and nothing happened. No one got shot. Or if someone did get shot, they didn't find any evidence to indicate that anyone had been shot, and they probably obviously never showed up to a hospital. Moving on. 25 shots from 5 different firearms. It's a lot. For some reason, New York prefers 60 seconds to the Axon's default 30 seconds. You can configure it to buffer for even up to 2 minutes. They just, for whatever reason, chose 1 minute. So at this point, we all know this group of people has people in it who are armed. And um, they're wearing a lot of um, baggy, thick clothing. So you can't even really fully tell um, who in this group is armed. Now, of course, there's that literature out there that talks about you can determine how a person's armed just how they walk. They'll favor their gun, something like that. They got a certain way they'll walk. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm usually the one who'll kind of notice people who are armed, but just looking at this, I can't really readily tell which ones have got guns on them or not. I would suspect this one right here with the star probably has one. Um, but I mean, other than that, it's just hard to tell which one's got them. And which ones don't. But anyway, so like I said, we all know that there's people in this group who are armed. Now, if you don't know anything about New York police, that's okay. But New York police has a lot of, and they might not call it this, they might call it something else, but they got a lot of foot patrols. Officers can be assigned a foot beat, I guess you could call it, and like they don't have a car. they're not they're not privileged enough to have a cruiser. So they're literally like security guards in a mall. I mean, they're just walking around, they're standing around in their little, their little foot beats, whatever they call it, and that's their job is to walk around. Now, I don't know if they rotate this. I don't know if like everyone gets like a fair share of ride time in a vehicle, or if you got to like, you know, be around for so long before you can be in a vehicle. Kind of like how some of these like sheriff agencies will operate their jails and their courtrooms. Like you got to be the bailiff or the jailer for a little bit before you get to get a car and go to the road. So I don't know if New York does it like that. Like you got to walk around for a little bit before you get a car. But yeah, I mean that's a sucky job right there, is having to be out in the open like this on the streets. Amongst these miscreants, and especially now with this huge anti-police mindset from these criminals, which they've always had. They've always hated the police, but they've never been coddled and pandered by the media in such a way that it emboldens them, it empowers them to want to do shit towards the police. So it wasn't too long ago that the New York Police Department had a couple of officers attacked while they were sitting in their patrol car. They were shot, and it would be very, very easy for a couple people out of this group to want to kill these officers and just be able to easily walk up down the sidewalk here, abruptly turn and produce a gun and start shooting them before they could react. So I'm not a big fan of this foot patrol bullshit, especially in shitty ass neighborhoods. Um, if I was these guys, I would be doing whatever I could to get out of that assignment. And if it's one of those gigs where you're going to be there for a while, you know what? I'm sure there's some better companies in New York to go work for. Like, I mean, hell, I'm sure there's tons of factories and warehouses up there that pay better money and a lot less bullshit than dealing with these assholes right here. And you know these assholes right here shooting at people, or that other asshole or whatever. Let's just say this officer did shoot that other asshole. um Hell, I mean, the way that guy was moving and running, he fired at him, his back was exposed, so let's say he shot him in the back. The media and these miscreants up there would have a field day with that shit. And hell, the way things are in New York, that officer could face some kind of criminal charge or something like that for doing his damn job and protecting people. So I'm not a big fan of New York. I've been to New York, and I mean, I guess you could say it's a bucket list thing. You check it off, been there, done that kind of thing. But as far as living there, hell no. Um, I don't want no part of it, and I wouldn't even entertain going back to New York with the way things are up there. New York is probably, um, I guess you could say, on the no go list. Yeah. I'm definitely not ever returning to New York ever again, because it's just a shithole. Anyway, enough of that ranting. Um, I'll continue on with this. That dude. I don't know. Something about that dude just kind of, I don't know. Fast forward this. Fast forward some more. When we see this car pull up, this is when we know it kind of starts. Which, this car, I don't know what this car is. It might be a ride share thing. I don't know if that's the little light in the windshield. Let me back it up a little bit more. Yeah, it's like a ride share because it's got their little light up thing in the window there. So this poor person, they get a ride share right here, and then as soon as they step out that door, boom, a gun battle happens. So this officer, he responds pretty quickly and goes towards the sound of gunfire. And here we see this bad guy running this direction, but one arm's extended and he's shooting in this direction at these people. This officer does fire a couple rounds at him, and he misses. He doesn't hit him. So that's what I was saying earlier about, this officer's doing his job. He's shooting at a bad guy. He's just blindly shooting at people. And let's say he did hit. Let's say that he did shoot this guy. He would have shot him in the back, which I personally have no problem with whatsoever. But you know damn well that certain people and certain groups would go ape shit over that. I mean, they would completely lose their shit, call this cop a murderer, call him a racist. I mean, call him everything under the sun. And people would be out there protesting, saying, whoever this bad guy is, he was such a good person. He was always smiling. He was getting his life turned around. Wah, 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 wah. Bullshit. And I hate it. Like that guy obviously didn't give a fuck about anyone. Just blindly firing away as he's running. And, who knows? As he's running and shooting, if there's kids around or anything like that. One of those stray bullets could have very easily hit a kid, and this dude has no care in the world whatsoever. But other people, if he would have been shot, other people would have come to bat for him and talk about how such a great person he was, and they would be all about like fuck the police and all that bullshit. So I try not to rant in these videos, but sometimes it's incredibly hard not to go down that little rant road. But anyway, the officer shoots and he pauses there for a second, and then he takes off.
56 Marcus Garvey.
Pause it one more time.
Shots fired over here.
All right. So this guy obviously works night shift, and he does not have a weapon mounted light. That's wrong in my opinion. But with that being said, I don't know New York Police Department very well. I know that they are a very large agency, and then they've experienced probably some defunding from their stupid mayor. But on top of that, before they were ever, defunded, uh, they were just like every other police agency in the country. Um, they don't have an unlimited budget. So there are some budget restraints for them when it comes to certain things. And this could be an issue where they just can't afford to give X amount of thousand of police officers weapon mounted lights and the holsters to go with those. Um, that's one possibility. Other possibility is they just, they say, fuck it, we're not buying it. If you want it, get it on your own. If that's the case, then this officer is in the wrong for not buying the equipment to better himself. And it really sucks that so many officers out there have to buy their own equipment. But that is a reality within the law enforcement and security world out there. These companies and agencies, not all of them provide every single thing that an officer is going to need. Um, and it varies from agency to agency. So, you know, in Kentucky, you may have one agency that is able to provide everything to the individual officer, and then you may have other agencies who the only thing they can provide is the car and the radio and maybe a gun. But everything else they expect the officer to buy on their own. Um, I had a buddy of mine, he started a small agency, and that agency didn't have a good duty belt or even a bulletproof vest to provide to him. And he had to borrow that stuff from a friend of ours who also runs a security company and borrow that shit from him so he can go do his police work. That's that is the reality of it when it comes to police and security work in this country. A lot of them have to provide their own stuff. Agencies and companies, not all of them, but some of them may provide very little or nothing at all. Um, some places don't even provide a gun. You got to bring your own gun to work, kind of thing. So, uh, if that's the case here, where the agency just can't afford it, but they're going to allow you to buy your own stuff, then this officer should be buying a weapon mounted light and holster to be able to be more prepared for his work. You need a weapon mounted light in low light conditions. If you're going to be working nights, that's something you need to have. Now, if your agency is just poor and can't afford it, and they don't have it in their policy that would allow you to buy that stuff and use it on your own, then you need to start campaigning, so to speak, and talking to your magistrates or your commissioners, whoever your political people are, and get them to put some pressure on whoever to change the rules that would allow you to have those things. I don't know why some agency would have a rule against you buying your own weapon mounted light, but I can only assume that there's probably some agencies out there who have stupid shit like that going on, because there are stupid people who get elected and are appointed to positions of leadership within agencies, and they just don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. But anyway, kind of ranting there. If you're going to be working nights, you need a weapon mounted light.
834 Park. Male black, wearing all black. He's ready to go towards Woodhall Hospital.
So this person is just, nonchalantly strolling down the sidewalk here, seconds after a gun battle just erupted right up the sidewalk from where she's at. And she's just walking along like nothing happened.
All black.
And it looks like she's reading. just taking a nice little stroll at night, reading a book. It's okay. Those gun battles happen all the time. Let's just ignore this one. Um, if that's the case and she's not that bothered about the gun battle going up the street, then not the street, but the sidewalk, then that's a clear indication that this is an extremely shitty part of town where people are unaffected by the gun battles that go on. I'm hoping that she just had ear pods in or something and was listening to music and hasn't really heard all the gun battle going on. I hope it's not that shitty up there where people just are indifferent to the gun battles that occur in extreme close ranges.
In the coming weeks and months, the NYPD Force Investigation Division, in cooperation with the prosecutor having jurisdiction over this incident, will continue to investigate and analyze this incident as more interviews are conducted and forensic tests are completed.
All right, so not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.